This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Hockeytown West podcast, and we have a special guest with us in celebration of the Griffins' 30th season. We thought, let's try to get a bunch of guys together from the old Griffins teams and talk about the past times of the Griffins and seeing the fun stories that came from back in the day. And today we're joined by one of the guys who was on the second Calder Cup Championship team, had a heck of a 4 years in Grand Rapids, including two 50-plus point seasons. Everyone, welcome to the show, Eric Tangradi. Eric, man, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
No, thanks for everything you guys do, following hockey in the trenches, and I love my time in GR and looking forward to spend some time with you guys.
Well, before we jump into your time at GR, what have you been doing since your retirement from pro hockey?
Oh man, that might take up the whole hour. So now that I'm retired, I do live in Pittsburgh. I met my wife when I played for the Penguins. Funny enough, I grew up in Philadelphia. She grew up in Pittsburgh, and the rival left the east side of the state to head west. So we've always lived here in the off seasons. And then when I retired, we decided to settle down full time in Pittsburgh, and 3 kids, 9, 6, and a 3-year-old. After I retired, I knew I was somewhat built for sales. I also did a lot of real estate investing during my career. So I decided to get my real estate license. I thought that I would get into the commercial space, but ended up kind of finding a niche and really enjoying the residential side. So selling houses in Pittsburgh and for a few years, and then had that missing void. I always felt like I wanted to try to give back to our youth, somewhat be a mentor, maybe help kids learn from my own experiences. And fate brought me into a coaching job at Shadyside Academy, which is a prep school here in the city. And I have been the hockey coach there for 4 years, and I was just named the hockey director last year. So the hockey director, head coach of the prep team, and practicing real estate in the Pittsburgh area. So it's my days are busy, but I still get to fill the void of being involved in hockey and then also letting my personality shine and being in a sales job as well. So in a good position right now, but definitely over caffeinated and underslept, but that's how most of us are these days.
Amen to that. That's awesome, though. Congrats on that promotion to the director there, too. That's super cool. I'm glad you got back into the hockey side of things and, filling that void. Like you said, once you step away from the game, it's kind of hard to, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think your body tells you no, but your mind always says yes. And I think that's kind of the gift I still have to the game, is to be able to assess, analyze, predict a little bit of the game, and hoping to just give that kind of knowledge back to the youth and be a mentor for them any way that I can.
Nice.
So we'll start with a simple one as far as hockey goes. What brought you to Grand Rapids from the Canadiens organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of went through some different ups and downs in my career. When I came into the Pittsburgh organization, I was kind of rated as like this top prospect, somebody that was supposed to be Sidney Crosby's next line mate. And there was a lot of pressure that went with that. And I kind of went through my career just going through the motions and not really like going out and just grabbing the opportunity. I let a little bit of the mental side of the game bring me down. And so I ended up getting, I got traded from Pittsburgh to Winnipeg, kind of went through the same motion there of like potential, and got traded to Montreal. Went through what I would call rock bottom of my career in Montreal. Got called up, played some good games, had a really, really bad game to finish, and basically was told from Michel Therrien, like, you'll never play a game for the Canadiens again. So after that, I ended up at 24 years old, realized that I had to change myself. I had to stop blaming everybody else. I had to, figure out what's holding me back as a hockey player. And I ended up getting a sports psychologist who completely like transformed my career. So here I am, 24 years old, 4.5 years pro, pretty much written off as like, you had your chance, but came out of it feeling like I'm the best version of myself. I have something to prove. So as I went into free agency, my July 1st wasn't like everybody else's July 1st. It wasn't pick up, call, pick where you want to go. It was Ryan Martin, the old assistant GM, who was the GM of the Griffins at the time, saying, I know what you're capable of. I think we can get it out of you. Like, come to GR, take a risk on us, because the money wasn't what I thought was my value, but basically lent his hand out and said, like, we're going to give you that chance. So after that conversation, obviously knowing the history, the tradition of not only the Red Wings, but Grand Rapids as well, like when you're trying to reestablish yourself as a pro, it's important to go to a minor league system that invests in their players and in winning, because that's going to be the opportunity for you to showcase the best version of yourself. So long answer to a short question. I'm sorry, I do that sometimes, but that's kind of how I ended up in Detroit. It wasn't like it was my choice up through a bunch of teams. It was like, I like what Ryan Martin was saying, and I believe him, and I'm going to go there and try to prove something, and that's what I tried to do.
I love that, because we hear that so much from some of the guys. You know, this team like sees that value in them, and that they can get something out of them, and they trust them to come in here, and you guys trust them to get it out of you, and it ends up being a great relationship. So I always love hearing that more and more from every guy we talk to. When you arrived in Grand Rapids, though, what was your first impressions of the city overall?
I couldn't have been more pleasantly surprised. I mean, I've played in some areas, not to knock any other cities that I had been in, right? But when you come up in the East Division of the American Hockey League, you have Wilkes-Barre, Binghamton, Syracuse, Utica, Hershey. I mean, you have some blue collar places with some pretty rundown arenas. 3,000's a sellout. And then you get over to GR and you go to the Van Andel and you see, you know, Saturdays and Sundays, people just flooding the downtown in the city. Like, that's kind of a lost art in society, to have people just openly walking in a city. So I couldn't have been happier going there and one, just having a sellout on opening night. That was an accomplishment in itself in the minor leagues there. And but then to see like how friendly the people were, how interested they were in hockey, it really exceeded my expectations right off the bat.
Have you been back to Grand Rapids at all recently?
Not recently. I think probably the last time I was there was probably when I played, to be honest. I mean, it's just we're on a really strict t-ball schedule and volleyball youth schedule right now that prevents me from traveling as I'd like, but I would love to get back, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy, the growth, man. There's an amphitheater being built downtown, a soccer stadium being built in downtown Grand Rapids. It's wild here now. It feels like a big city, way more than a small city, but still has that tight knit feel, like where you can still go out and walk around downtown and all that fun stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, as long as they don't take the bob from us. Are they taking that away
the
from
Bob's
us
still
yet?
there.
All right, perfect.
One of the guys that's been there forever is Brad Dog Thompson. What was your first impressions of him, and do you have any funny stories with him?
I mean, plenty of stories. I mean, I have had a lot of incredible equipment managers, a lot of them who, you know, genuinely care about their players. But when I first had a conversation with Dog, I couldn't think of like a more caring, reliable, accountable person than Dog. Like, when you sign as a free agent, you usually wait a month to get your new gear. Within 2 days, I had all my gear. When I came to training camp, it was like we had been friends for 20 years. He came up to me, welcomed me, introduced me to everybody. I mean, I feel like he is like a true reflection of Grand Rapids Griffins hockey. And, you know, we joke that he's the mayor, because it's like he knows this guy, that guy, the next. But, you know, as far as funny stories, it was like every day it was a funny story. You know, his desire and love of Halloween, his favorite day to get dressed up. And it was like game 7 for him to have a great costume for Halloween. But really, like, I can't really highlight a story, because all of them were like a 10 out of 10 of all the amazing times that we had together. Love Dog. He's the best.
Oh yeah, absolute best. We had him on the show one time. He was kind enough to bring us into the locker room to do a full interview with him there. And it was the coolest thing to us, because we were just getting started. So great guy. Love that guy. Your first year at GR, though, you had a pretty darn good season, and it was weirdly perfectly balanced. 28 goals, 28 assists. It's kind of rare to see that. Just what made you just break out in GR that first year?
Well, I think again, it was the confidence that I reestablished myself mentally as a player. I stopped thinking about the results of my game and started really taking pride in the process. I was a big power forward, anytime I was around the net front, good things were going to happen. So I tried to focus on just 3 to 5 things that I can do in a hockey game that had nothing to do with goals and assists. And it just so happened that doing all of those things really, really well led to goals and assists. And that being said, I think my style of play made it really easy and relatable for young prospects to slide in and play with me. So my first year, I spent a long time with Andreas Athanasiou and Anthony Mantha, guys that they were just on the cusp of being NHLers, but didn't bring that consistent effort every single night. So they kind of slid me in there as the veteran guy, like pucks in, pucks out, very simplified game. And I think it started to translate and reflect on them that like you can be a skilled high end forward, but if you're not doing the little things at the pro level, it doesn't matter. So obviously helped having incredible skilled line mates like them in my first year. But at the same time, I really took pride in like getting back to my DNA of what I was as a player. And because of that, I had really good results in year one.
You mentioned a couple of them, but like some of the gamers you guys had, like Andy Mealy, Brandon, how do you say that guy's last
Mark
name?
Zangerly.
Mark Zangerly, Anthony Mantha, Martin Firk, and more. Like, what was it like playing with some of those guys? I know like Martin Firk, known for the big shot.
Yeah, I mean, we had such a versatile room, like, it was insane, like, when you looked at our lineup, it was almost like we were built to win, we just didn't know how to win in year 1 under Nelson, but, you had Tyler Bertuzzi coming in as a rookie, like I said, him with Mantha and Athanasiou, and, Zangerli, true playmaker, Marty, like, unbelievable shot, aggressive, tenacious, Thomas Nosek still trying to find his way, then you had Lash, like, solidifying the back end. So we really had this team that was like built to win. But I think what the most important thing that happened to us is I remember that year, I think we started the season like 0-8. I think we had one of the worst starts. It's funny after seeing the start they had this year, like they can't lose. But, I think that sometimes rejection and adversity, you really find out a lot more about yourself in those moments versus just going out and winning. But we had some incredible talent on that team, but we went through some really dark times to start. And I think that built up a little scar tissue and a little adversity that down the road would make us a legitimate contender. And then eventually the next year, winning.
What was rookie year Tyler Bertuzzi like in the locker room?
He is such a breath of fresh air in today's world of young athletes with all this mental pressure and like, I don't use the word anxiety lightly, but like there's just so many external pressures, social media, elite prospects, all these things, draft status, and to just have him come in as like a puppy that was just wagging his tail every day he was at a rink, like a big smile, came off as like a very aloof person, but had a great heart. And man, did that kid want to win. So what he started as in his rookie year to the naked eye was like, this kid's going to have no chance. Like he's very all over the place and he's not very coordinated. But then as the season went by, like his hunger, his drive, his hockey IQ, so underrated, off the charts. Just to see his progression throughout the year was incredible, but he never, whether he worked on it or not, he never allowed his mind to get in the way because he just was this free spirit who just loved to learn, loved to improve, and man, did he just like explode in the matter of 12 months.
That second year, you guys go on to win the second Calder Cup in franchise history. What was that season like as a whole?
Again, it was amazing. Lots of adversity. Like we had injuries throughout the year. You deal with call-ups. I remember that year, I think a month in, Mantha got called up and you're thinking, a lot of winning a Calder Cup is somewhat luck, right? You almost need to have a team that is a bottom feeder in the NHL that can give you players that are high-end prospects that are on an NHL roster, all these different variables that go into it. But we were built with our veteran group to win, but we were very fortunate with the guys who chipped in when it mattered most were like some of our younger rookie entry-level players. So throughout the season, like guys get called up, guys get sent down. Sometimes there's animosity in the room. The American League is a weird place. Like guy next to you, he's your brother, he's your teammate, but you're both trying to get the heck out of there, right? You're both trying to play in the NHL. So we just had such a tight group. Matt Ford, Brian Lashoff, myself, Ben Street. Like, we had leadership that was able to really connect that locker room, that we didn't run into any of the problems that like a lot of American Hockey League teams have. And the funniest thing about that run was, like, I remember in the locker room, every single playoff game, there was never a doubt that we were done. Like, it was just like every day was like day one, where I've been on teams and seasons where it's like, we could be done on Monday, we could be done on Wednesday, we could be done on Friday. But like, it was almost sad when we won, because we didn't want to leave each other. We didn't want to stop being in the room together. We didn't want to like go home. We had so much fun that season, and never did we think about anything except come to the rink, play for each other, and whatever happens, happens. And it so happened that we won. But then when it was over, it was sad, because it was like, man, this team was special.
So funny how you described that, because like being in the room and being around the guys this season as they started off so hot, like that's the mentality around the room right now. So as you say that, I'm like, ooh, maybe again. But as you guys went throughout that season, was there like a moment where you were like, yeah, we can win it all? Like, was there a turning point in that season where you guys were like, this might happen, guys?
Honestly, I don't think so, because we're so present and so in the moment. And I think that's probably why we weren't distracted by anything. Like, I don't even remember where we finished in the standings. I don't remember if we were first, second, third. All I remember is just like, every day we're just going to play for each other and play our lights out, and whatever happens, happens. I think, honestly, once we got into the second round and we literally, or maybe that's the Western Conference Finals, San Jose had stacked roster. And our objective in that series was just to beat the hell out of them, like physically dominate them. Dylan McElrath, like, we had some buses on that team that could disrupt a game and create some violence. And our objective was to do that to them. And we didn't expect to like completely run them out of the building. So I think after that series, we knew Syracuse was San Jose on steroids with skill, like speed. Their team was elite, but I think we had the confidence of like, really, if we're not as skilled, like, we still have a chance, because we're gonna be meaner than they are.
Man, McElrath was a bust, as you would describe that guy, dude. Oh my.
Jeff Hogan was obviously a legend here in GR with his number hanging in the rafters of the van. But what was it like having him as a captain?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was great. I think you know, when you're at the end of your career, kind of similar to like what I want to give in coaching, like, you're playing on borrowed time, you're enjoying the moment, but you also want to leave an impact on everybody around you. And I think that's what Hoagie did for everybody. Is he was a little bit from the old way of hockey, the old game, which was, about respecting the game, respecting kind of like the veterans, and understanding like everybody in this room has had to scratch, claw, and fight to get to where they are. And whether you're a first round pick or you're 35, 36 years old, like, everybody deserves to be in this room. So I think he really helped with the culture, because we were so young that first year, like I talked about, with all those rookies playing big minutes. I think having someone like, like him being the sheriff in that locker room, it's very hard to find, those type of grizzled vets that can still compete. Because unfortunately, in today's world, you have to be able to play the game to still get the respect from your peers. And I think he, did a good job of talking the talk and walking the walk as well.
Yeah, I 100% would agree. He was a great captain. What was it like being coached by Todd Nelson, though, in Grand Rapids?
Amazing. I mean, talk about a player's coach that makes you want to run through a wall for him. I think that there's kind of a fine balance between, call it the Ken Hitchcock, and then the true player's coach. Like, Nelly was right in the middle, and every single prospect, if you were to talk to any of these guys who ended up playing the NHL for him, they would credit a lot to him, because he demand work ethic, compete, and details. But he also, like, the door was open and he cared. He really, truly cared about all of his players. And I think that, when we talk about the locker room, the teams, all that stuff, like, Nelly created that stuff. He's the one that created the band of brothers and that love and for one another to make those sacrifices. So, when it comes to X's and O's, we had him, Ben Simon, who I think is a genius hockey IQ guy, a little bit more old school. And then you had Nelly, who was kind of like that caring players coach that was very relatable to the 18-year-old, but also very relatable to the 35, 36-year-old as well. So he was fantastic. The whole staff was great.
I'm guessing it doesn't surprise you the success Nelly's had with Hershey and all the other teams he's been with either.
No, not at all. I mean, when you see Hershey back-to-back, Todd Nelson, and, I know for years he's been chomping at the bit for an NHL coaching job, but I just think that his impact on the game and on players is in that development younger phase. And I think now that he's with the Penguins as an assistant NHL coach, he's exactly where he needs to be. A team that's going through a rebuild, that's looking for young players to make an impact. He's a perfect example of a guy that work ethic's off the charts, but can also connect with that younger core to see if they can push the next version of the Penguins through the door.
Obviously, like winning a championship, most special thing you can accomplish in sports, right? What was it like to win it at home?
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, I had that interview where, I'm holding my newborn daughter and I'm being asked like how it feels. And I'm like, this is not just like our championship. This is the city's championship. And I can't tell you the van was shaken. It was shaken for 2 months. And I had never been in an environment like that where we're throwing fish on the ice every 6 minutes. We got delays happening. There's people going insane. You walk the streets, dinner, everything. I mean, how many American League hockey teams can you think of that could throw a parade? Nothing against the American Hockey League, but we had like a legitimate parade with like 5,000 people. So it was unbelievable, the fans, the whole playoff run, but the city, it was just such a special place. And then to cap it off that way made it incredible.
Did you get a day with the cup?
I did.
What'd you
I
do?
did. We had everybody out in Pittsburgh. We played a round of golf with it. Did that with all my buddies and all my family members. And then after that, we had a huge barbecue cookout. It may or may not have ended up in the pool. May or may not have had a bunch of different beverages mixed in it. And then the next morning, I think we ate some cereal out of it. So we had a all-inclusive Calder Cup day, and pretty sure we damaged it pretty good as a team. Not me with my day, but that thing partied hard for a summer, that's for sure.
I thought somebody dented it that year. I don't remember who it was. I think someone put a good gash in it, if I remember correctly.
Yep. I know
I think
exactly
Bob
who it
Kaiser
was,
got
but
blamed for it.
he's our scapegoat for everything. Kays, love him. But yeah, that's like Fight Club. First rule about Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. With the Calder Cup being damaged will be to my grave.
There you go.
Between Toledo and now GR, we've heard some horror stories about championship trophies getting destroyed. They had to completely remake the Riley Cup because of after the Storm guys were done with it. There were some absolute dogs on that championship team, but also some crazy characters. Do you have any fun stories from that year that you can share?
Man, I mean, again, all the road trips we had, like you go with other teams, you have a group of like 4 guys that go out, right? You have a team of 20 and there's 5 groups of 4 that go down. We would have 20-person dinners. We would have like the best fun times together. Some of the stories, I mean, I again, like kind of like a blackout moment where you don't remember all the great times. But I do remember for about 6 months, the championship season, we had a professional mini golf tour that we started where we had a cut line. We had guys come out. We played 3 rounds of golf in every city because we had Austin, we had San Antonio, we went out west. We were on planes like researching miniature golf courses, and we would have these insane mini golf tournaments, like guys throwing clubs, breaking clubs in half, balls getting thrown, near fights. And this is miniature golf. So, you have 20 guys showing up to a mini golf course and you have a 3-year-old in front of them and like, we're going to play through. Like it was just the intensity on the ice, but also off the ice. We had a full blown like FedEx Cup mini golf tour that year, and it was amazing. And I think Bertuzzi ended up taking it down that season for us because he was a heck of a putter.
It's one of the craziest things ever.
Yeah, other teams are out partying at clubs. We're at a mini golf course in a mall on Thursday in Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, that's incredible. You see, we keep joking that we need to take the spit and chicklets sandbagger thing idea and do it with mini golf with the guys here. And now I think that just certifies that we need to do it.
Yeah, you could tell Shiner he's terrible. I'll clean him up in golf any day of the week. That's my guy. I love Dom Shine.
Yeah, what was it like playing with him in his early days in GR? And are you shocked that he's stuck around the city for this long?
I'm not shocked because I remember Shiner coming in the year we won the Calder Cup. He signed, I think, from Northern Michigan. I think that's where it was. He signed and then he came back for a few weeks and then he went home. And like, again, talk about a guy that would literally go through a brick wall for the guy next to him. He was that type of guy and he did everything he could to just get in the lineup. He fought. He played fourth. He played 6 minutes on the fourth line. Like to see him have the success that he's having now, like nobody deserves it more than him because he spent 8 years as a bottom six forward labeled as that guy. And he's found a way to like let his skating, his tenacity, and that heavy shot shine to now produce points and be a leader. But it's crazy. Like I remember having conversations with him after COVID about like transitioning to what's next. We had conversations as I got into real estate, him thinking about medical sales jobs and retirement and all of these things in 2020, 2021. And I'm just so happy he stuck with it because now he got NHL games. Now he's a legitimate contender to help that roster. He's a captain. But there was a time where he could have been done with hockey, but he's a guy you want to root for. He's the exact guy that represents the city of Grand Rapids and what Grand Rapids hockey represents, and couldn't be more proud of him. But you could just see it in the beginning. Like some of these guys come in and they're like, I'm a half wall guy on the power play. Where I came from, that's what I am. And they go through 3 years, fizzle out, and they're done. He was a leader in college, scored goals in college, but he's like, I have to fight. I have to block shots. I have to do all this dirty stuff. And he did it for 7-8 years before he got this shot to be a top six forward. So awesome story, awesome guy, one of my brothers for life. And I had nothing but nice things to say about Shiner.
How special was it?
Except at golf. He sucks at golf.
How special was it for you to see him get an NHL call up? Like that had to be cool being that you're, good friends with the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like a book, right? Like he's a Detroit kid, Michigan kid, gets his first NHL game after 10 years or 7, 8 years. It's amazing. And I think like just to get one game, but then to play multiple games for a long stretch. Really cool story, really, really great, story of adversity, perseverance. And I hope he's not done for a long time.
Same here. I agree with that. I think the icing on the cake with that story too is that Bob Kaiser was on the call in Detroit when he got his first NHL point. Like that just completes the storybook for him right there, really.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The following season after the championship season, you went and absolutely tore it up. Your career high point season in the pros there for you. Absolutely no championship hangover from yourself, I say.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up playing the whole playoffs with a sports hernia. It was a dark time, could barely get out of bed. Some days crying, walking to the rink before the injection kicked in. But it was just kind of felt like I was finally healthy. And sometimes you have these off seasons, where you get eliminated early and you have all this time to work out and you're just training, and you come back and it's like, yeah, I feel stronger, but I don't feel myself. Where when you win, you get surgery, you're just resting. Like you don't, your workouts are your rehab. So we won June 17th. I think I was in surgery by the 21st of June. I think I was cleared to skate by August 20th. So realistically, I had 4 weeks to get ready for training camp. But I bet it was the best thing for me. It was the first time I truly gave my body like a break and a mental reset. And just going into that year, maybe it was the mind saying like, oh, you didn't train as hard as you had in the past. Like you're not going to be the best version of yourself. Maybe I took some pressure off myself to just say, like, just go out and play. Like, you'll get in shape as the season goes on. So maybe it was low expectations, but yeah, I just got off and running. But I think a lot of it had to do with just that mental reset and just the rest that I was able to give myself, not by design, because I'm a lunatic in the gym when it comes to that stuff. But the surgery, I think, just gave me a reset.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense.
You brought up one thing that I got to ask you a side question about, like the wear and tear of a playoff run. Like you talked about, you just had a dealing with an injury through the whole playoffs. Like, is it just like it's a different mindset that you got to get to? Like, it's you have an opportunity, you want to capitalize on it. Just talk about playing through something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. I think the hard part is, like, regular season is intense, but in the regular season, there's all these, like, kind of you go into a week on Monday, you see your schedule for the week, right? It's like, I know that on Wednesday I'm going to play, on Thursday I'm going to try to do this rest recovery exercise, Friday, Saturday. Like, you already have a game plan on how you're going to treat your body and your mind, and you play the game. But in those games in the regular season, like, maybe your minutes are managed a little bit differently. Maybe you have a 3-goal lead, or you're losing and the coach wants to rest. I don't really know. The practices are different. Playoff hockey is unlike anything else. If you think your ceiling is 10, you play at 15, because you just have this out-of-body experience where the compete, the intensity, the skating, every puck decision, like, your body and mind is completely fried because you just exceeded every expectation you have of yourself every single shift. So I think when you go into those games, it's like one playoff game is like the equivalent of 3 regular season games. So then when you have these adrenaline rushes in the regular season, you might get an adrenaline rush in the third period with 10 minutes left when you're up a goal. But in a playoff game, like, that adrenaline rush starts like at 2:00. Like, you don't sleep. All you think about is the intensity and how important this game is. So your body is like literally running on fumes, and you're learning things about yourself that you didn't know. So again, the injury stuff, getting to the rink, awful, sleeping, awful. But as soon as, like, the chin strap goes on, you kind of have this, like, out of body gladiator warrior mindset of, like, you kind of got 2 choices, like, kill or be killed, figuratively. But that's just kind of the way we're wired, that the game, you don't feel pain in the game, but as soon as you get a shower and you start to come down off of that, like, high, it's like, oh boy, that wasn't good.
You went over to the Devils organization, then a quick stint in the KHL, but ended up coming back. How did all that happen? What brought you back?
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where, like, my time in GR probably got a little bit bittersweet, right? Like, when I came to Grand Rapids, my goal originally, because everyone has individual goals when they come to an organization, my goal was to reestablish myself in the NHL. And I wanted to do everything I needed to do to reestablish myself in the NHL. I thought that I would be a very, very good 3rd or 4th line NHLer. So early on in my time in Grand Rapids, when I just signed there, had a lot of fights, a lot of hits, a lot of aggressiveness. Kind of like I told you guys, I tried to do all the little things right, and it just translated to points. But if you look at those first 3 years in Grand Rapids, right, you mentioned 28 goals the first year. The second year, I was hurt for a little bit. Still finished with a really good playoff. And then the third year, having 31 and 31, I played 1 NHL game, right, in an organization that was going through a rebuild that it seemed like everybody was getting called up. So I had my championship. I had an unbelievable year. And I really just asked the organization, like, could you give me some opportunity? Wasn't asking for a spot on the Red Wings, but could you give me a legitimate look in training camp where I could make your roster? And I had good conversations with Jeff Blashill, but then you start to see who they're signing, and you start to kind of play the game of the roster, and you're like, I know I can beat this guy out, but he's on a one-way contract, and I'm probably not going to beat him out. So it got to a point where I loved it there, but my goal in the American Hockey League was, as long as I had a chance to play in the NHL, I'll sign anywhere. That was my little bit of arrogance of who I was as a player. So to play 1 game in 3 years, they offered me a great contract to come back to Grand Rapids, but I didn't have full trust at that point that I wasn't just going to be another guy to just keep promoting prospects from within. because that's kind of what it felt like. Like, everything you're doing, great job. Thanks for getting this guy called up. Get back down to practice and push the next first round draft pick. So I kind of left a little bit. I need to go chase an opportunity. It was never about the money, because when I went to the New York Jersey Devils organization, I took a significant pay cut, but they offered me a true opportunity to play NHL games for them. Now, that year, unfortunately, I went through some serious knee issues, but was able to play 6 NHL games. Felt like I played 6 really, really great games, but again, an organization who's going through a complete rebuild, prospects, the future, bottom of the standings, that type of thing. But that's kind of what led to the departure from Grand Rapids. So I did the year in New Jersey, all the injuries, kind of had a reset, understood that I'm not the same Eric Tangradi that I was. So my choices are pretty much, do I go play in the American League, be a captain, probably going to be a third, fourth liner because I'm not the same player that I used to be? Or do I go chase the money? Do I go to the KHL and chase the money for a few years? Never in my mind was it about the money, but as soon as you kind of feel like you've lost your NHL dream, like, it was, let's just go make as much money as I can. So I went and signed in the KHL. At that point, I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and that hockey, that league, that culture, not for me. I went there for 5 months. My wife, my kids didn't move there. Having a 3-year-old and basically at that point wasn't even 1. He might have been 6-month-old son. That was tough. Really, really hard. Got homesick. Kind of went through some stuff of like, things are more important than hockey. And then I went back to Pittsburgh. I left the KHL in December, and then I kind of, I guess, reprogrammed my brain into, I want to play hockey because I love it. I want to go have a great quality of life. I got a call from the Texas Stars that offered me more money, and I knew quality of life for my family would be better in GR, and ended up signing with them. And maybe tricked myself that I had a whole lot more in the tank, because I got off to kind of a little bit of a hot start when I came back before some injuries again.
Outside of the championship, obviously that's going to stick out as one of the favorite memories in Grand Rapids. But outside of that, just what was your favorite memory in GR?
Again, it's so hard to pinpoint one event, because I just loved every single moment of being there until probably the end. But that championship run as a whole, like, there's not just the day of the game winning the championship was special, but like the build up, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, those are all moments that, like, I'll forever remember. It can't really pinpoint to like one moment. It's not like, oh, my first NHL game was my greatest moment, because that was my greatest NHL achievement, because I didn't have a lot of good moments. But when you have so many great times in a city, like, you seem to always just remember. Like, I think the Great Skate was one of my favorite memories, right? Like, my first year there, skating at 3:00 in the morning with like fans and people leaving the bar to come skate. Like it was such a unique thing. Like, what city is going to have anybody on the ice with me at 3 a.m.? And there's like 400 people out there in the city skating around at 3:00 in the morning. So love the Great Skate, but also just love the moments like my daughter got to have there. Like, we went to the light show over at the ballpark, right? Like, that was something that I remember with my family. Fujiyama, the place up on the Beltline. Remember having just like hibachi up there. Like, there's just so many weird, unique things that I loved about Grand Rapids. Is Roses still kicking in East Grand Rapids? Restaurant on the water?
So. I don't think so. I haven't been out to East Grand Rapids in a minute, honestly. With the hockey schedule and a work schedule, I feel like where you just don't get to go out and experience that stuff.
It's also 5 years ago too, so you know.
Yeah, for all we know, there's again so much change around here. It's so hard to say.
Yeah.
Why do you think hockey's worked so well in GR, making it to the 30-year milestone?
I think it's a commitment from ownership, and it's a commitment from the big club. I mean, look at Toledo, right? Toledo has had all this success, fan base, because they invest in their players. I played with TJ Hensick in Hamilton, one of the top American League players that league's seen, and he went down there and played for a few years because of how great the organization was, how players were treated. I think that teams and organizations are a little bit naive to think that winning doesn't matter, and it does. Like, you can't just plug and paste an organization in a city and wonder why you have 2,000 fans. Like, there's pedigree and investment in the players, ownership, like that thing that's going to translate forever. So I think that's the reason why Grand Rapids has had success. Like, the Van Andels are very, very good to the players. The big club is really, really good in surrounding their younger core with high level veteran players that have that pedigree to win and intensity to win. So I think when you create a winning culture, it brings the fans. And when you have fans, it creates community. And when you have a community and a fan base, it's the total package to be a desired place for any player to want to play.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's fun. I didn't know you played with Henny. That's cool.
Yeah, he was awesome. Loved having played my time with him in Hamilton.
Yeah, it's very cool. Well, a fun last question for you. You might have already answered it already, honestly. Just when you were in GR, what was your favorite food spot?
Favorite food spot? Honestly, I don't know what it was, but my wife and I got treated so well at Ruth Chris downtown. Like, we would have a game and they would close at 10 o'clock and I'd show up at 10:15 and they'd have a table ready for us with some roses for her. Like, I pulled her out of the house for hockey. Let's just sweeten up the wife for the night. The food, the service, the people, that was our go-to post-game spot because they were amazing and the food backed it up too. So that was one of our regular stops, in GR in downtown.
That's awesome. That's really cool they treated you that well. That's fantastic. Well, Eric, I don't have any other questions for you. If you have any other story that you're like, I came on here and I was going to share this story, now's the time for it.
No, I really don't know if I have any. Again, I wish I would have probably thought about this before coming on. That's my fault, but nothing that I can really highlight or think of. I would love to get back in GR. I'd love to come up and see the boys, see some of the old faces, see if I can put that in the plans for maybe April, hopefully June. I'd love to see some Grand Rapids hockey in June. How's that sound, fellas?
That sounds fantastic to us.
Does sound good.
Well, thank you again for doing this. We appreciate it so much, and hopefully we'll catch you here in GR when you're here.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
Hockey is back, and this season's DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, brings you all the speed, skill, and nonstop action you love. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the unmatched intensity of the NHL right to your fingertips. From player drops to the thrill of live in-game betting, every drop of the puck is your shot to win big. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. I know the big one right now, everybody's betting on it. Emmett Finney for the Calder. So put your bets in now. Be a fun watch for the rest of the season. Light the lamp all season long with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
And welcome back to just Travis and myself here. Thank you again so much to Eric Tangradi for taking time to do that with us. This is a fun thing that we're going to try to put together, like I mentioned at the beginning of that interview, to get as many guys from the older teams as possible in the 30th year of the team here. It's a tough ask. Granted, there's a ton of players out there, but it's all about timing. And Tango was nice enough to take time tonight to do that. So we really appreciate it. Your first time getting to chat with him or really knowing anything about him, obviously, like you didn't start covering the Griffins until you were with us. And so what was your biggest takeaway with talking to him?
20-man putt chaos.
Dude, that's incredible.
I know, like he was saying that, and this, especially so what he told us off air, 3 hours in a indoor glow golf, and then they couldn't see afterwards, like that.
3 hour stint in a glow golf in Des Moines, Iowa. You know, those golf places saw these guys walking up and they're going, what the heck is going on here? What is this? And
Let alone when clubs are getting broken, balls being thrown at people, like playing through with a 4-year-old standing in front of you.
like doing our Toledo Storm interviews, it was the bar stuff. The Griffins, it's putt-putt. Like, it's a different world up here in the American League, man. I love it. That was a great story.
Yeah, that was good stuff. And just, like grinding it out in the minors. And the one thing too was the play, like dealing with injuries in the playoffs. That really stuck out to me too.
I think what I love the most is like just the openness to talk about, like, getting a sports psychologist and going through those mental battles that players go through. It's that constant reminder to us as someone that posts and talks about a team that they're people. And we always try to take that into account. That's why you'll rarely see us go off and be like, what is this guy doing? Like, we'll call a guy out for a bad game, be like, yeah, he had a bad game, but I'm not going to sit here and berate a player over it. And I don't do it on social media anymore, I should say. Ever since, you get to know these guys and you realize they're people. I love that aspect, and I appreciate him being so open with that. And I just really hate that it didn't work out for him in some of his peak seasons to make that stint in Detroit. He played one game in Detroit in the 4 years he was with Grand Rapids, and it's kind of another guy you wish Detroit gave a good look for a little bit longer, because he would have probably been a phenomenal bottom six player like he said he was going to be. And that part sucks, because I think about the Detroit teams those years and I go, who was keeping him down here? Like, come on. I know there was some prospects that got the call up because it was about the time Grand Rapids was having every prospect go up. Like, it's just the way it was. He would have been a good guy to have up there for some stints, but I'm glad he won a championship here, and obviously a fan favorite in the time he was here too. Like he said, playing that tough role, that bottom six role at the beginning of Grand Rapids, throwing fists when he needed to, throwing the hits when he needed to. The guy was so much fun to watch play. So getting to talk to him today, absolute pleasure for me after all these Toledo interviews for you from back in the day and us learning about that. But as we said, it's cool because you exposed us to the Toledo Storm and we had no clue. And we're getting to expose you to older Griffins years, and that's a lot of fun for us.
Well, it's fun for me because I remember being on Twitter, right? And you're following the Griffins because obviously you watch Detroit, but being from here, yeah, there's the Griffins, but in them Calder Cup years, I can remember following along through Twitter, and you remember the names, but to put some faces with names is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for that for you. I hope you can make it to most of these. With Nick's schedule, it'll probably be you and me doing most of them, but hey, we'll get him in there one of these days, hopefully. I feel so bad for the guy. His schedule is insane. This isn't a podcast problem. It's we feel bad for Nick because his schedule is absolutely berserk right now. But with that, we'll wrap this up. This is a special episode, just the interview. So thank you all for tuning into this one. We got to thank our sponsors of the show, of course, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. And of course, we got to thank our Patreon subscribers as well. Without them, the show would not be possible. We hope you guys enjoyed this. You guys will get this interview a day before everyone else. So we hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what your thoughts were. And if you want the early access to future interviews, patreon.com/HockeytownWest podcast to join these folks. You got Darren Schwartz, Peter Grell, Drew Schroeder, Bryson DeChambeau is elite, Tyler Ingalls, John in Florida, Elaine Grace, Griffin not from GR, Derek Sleezer, Lori, Allen, and Michael Alessante. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. We appreciate it. With that, we'll wrap this one up. Until we talk again, guys, as always, go Griffins, go Walleye, and we'll see y'all again soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.